So we're going to do a let's play here, and I've been asked to not do any editing at all, if possible, by some people who wanted to be able to hear me in a way that will suit their learning style. So we'll see how that goes. All right, and I had already thought I recorded the entire prep for this, and then I realized I'd made a terrible error. So now I have to redo everything here. But that's okay. I also had a lightning strike in the middle of that video, and I think that the storm has passed over, so we should be able to move along just fine here. I've chosen Prussia, and for the game rules, I have chosen for a standard reaction to my moves, but high aggression from the other AI. So I should see places like France and England and Russia and America getting very grabby with what's out there. I should see aggressive moves. Okay, I'm going to play Prussia, but I'm not going to play it as aggressively as I do other times. One strategy I like to do at the very beginning is to build up a fleet and then knock out South Africa here. And to do that, I make lots of friendships with England, so when I take it over, they're not mad at me, and I get the gold rolling in from the South African area. But I'm not doing that right now. I'm going to be a good Prussia and stick to just trying to unify Germany, and that'll also mean I attack France and Austria. But that's a good Prussia. It's only attacking two major powers, not like bad Germany that started World War I. Come on, man. Please, geez. Anyway, what are some choices I've made besides how the AI is going to go? So I start here with the politics. It starts off where we're bolstering the evangelical church. I don't need to bolster them. I'd like to see them eventually fade from power, but they're useful to include in government. I've added them, and that got me legitimate government up to 75. If I drop just by one, I get contested government, and that has some penalties. But putting them in, I get 75, and that's a good kind of government. It also means probably we're going to strip women of their rights. You look at our current laws, women can own property, but they want to go to legal guardianship. I'm not going to enact it on my own, but if and when the movement to do legal guardianship comes up, I'm eventually going to probably act on it. This is an interesting period in time where in some places rights for women were being rolled back. In the United States, there were many states that gave women the right to vote in the like 1790s and such. But during the 1820s and 1830s, the states moved to remove the right to vote for women. And the women were voting for that. Some very interesting dynamics went into place there. If you want to look up the cult of true womanhood, that will tell you more about how women's rights were rolled back during this time period in the USA. The cult of true womanhood. Yeah, it's as weird as it sounds. Anyway, but I took that 200 authority from bolstering the evangelical church and put it instead towards getting some taxes here. When we look at these taxes, I've got the tax on grain, and that's, you take the 12.7 divided by 500, it's about 2.4K or so per 100 authorities. So 2.4. And the services are around 3.6. All right. Well, they don't compare to the 5.29 on liquor or the 3.38 on luxury furniture. But yeah, the services are doing better than wine. And the porcelain tax is almost equal with the grain tax. And the opium is just, it's not even worth it. It's one that, like, as soon as I run out of authority, that's the first one I cancel. But those are the best taxes I can get with the things I can tax. And that puts me up to 17.8K plus per week. That's good. I'd like to get this gold bar moving upward, because then it means I can start draining it with construction. What did I choose to produce? This is actually something I chose towards the end. I went through my production methods. I maxed out my administration, my university. I wanted those to be as good as I could. I fixed my farms so they're only producing grains. That way I'll feed my people better. I can't do much on the livestock ranches, and I do have kind of a shortage on fabric. It's not like an actual knocking businesses out shortage, but I'm not making as much as my people demand. I'll have to import that. But yeah, it's there. It's there. For my coal, iron, lead, and sulfur, I'm making plenty of that. I could do more wood, and I thought of taking this and going to prioritize softwood production right now, and that'll get me a good amount of wood there. But I thought maybe it would be better to eventually get the hardwood places built, and I have a mod that gives me those as a separate factory. If I build out my hardwood industry, then once those are up and running, I can then cut out the hardwood production from my main lumber mills and just keep the two methods separate. I really like that mod. Oh, yes, I do. Don't have any engine production yet. Don't need any yet. What I have chosen to do is focus construction on the state of Silesia. Everything here is being built in Silesia. I start off by expanding the construction sector. Then I get some more tools and some more steel there to help fuel that construction sector. These are things that the construction needs. It needs the steel, tools, iron, and fabric at this level 2 here. When we go over to steel frame buildings, we're going to need a lot more steel and glass. And that's going to be some crazy stuff there. But that's the 1870s. For right now, it's iron, and we have iron, wood, fabric, and tools. So having a little bit of that in here will make it a very strong state. I build all those, and then once I get those, I build logs for the wood, construction sector, log, construction sector, and I'm going to ramp up the construction sector and then top it off with some more administration. And if I need to put railroads in there, that'll probably be the first place I put it in there. So why Silesia? Well, let's take a look at the state and look at the resources. It's got coal, iron, lead, sulfur, and wood. All 5 of these, this is magical. All 5 of these are input goods that make a intermediate or final good. An input good is a raw material, like grain, iron, coal. It comes out of the ground. You could say that. It just comes out of the ground. And then an intermediate good is something that is useful, but only for making something else. So steel would be an intermediate good. If we make steel from our coal and iron, that's great. But, what does a consumer want with steel? We don't just go off and buy steel ingots and show them to our friends. We may want to buy things made of steel. Or we may want to live in buildings that are made of steel. Or we want to use the steel for producing railroads. Now that railroad would be a final good, because that's something that the consumer actually touches. So primary sources or primary goods or raw materials, intermediate goods are things that we're going to use to make other things. That would be our steel, our glass, things like that. Explosives are generally intermediate. And then final goods would be clothes, luxury clothes, liquor, fish, fruit, things like that. Although fruit can also be a primary good, or you get the idea. Some of them can have different functions there, but by and large, these are the inputs for our factories, and then the factories will make stuff that we're going to find useful. So let's build them here in Silesia. Another reason to build in Silesia, can we take a look at the population there? Yes, let's go sort by job seekers. It's got by far the largest job-seeking population. What about peasants? Sort by peasants. It's got the largest number of peasants. These are people who need to get off the subsistence farms and into factories to be more productive. For the unemployed, sort by unemployed. Okay, Brandenburg's got more unemployed. Silesia doesn't. But these are people who aren't peasants that don't have a job. I'll get them working. Then I need to do something for Brandenburg. I'll probably want to build out its construction sector. And then, because Brandenburg is an odd place. It's the center of government, but it's only got, it's got coal and some wood. But you know what? After I finish building out Silesia, I'll go ahead and add 2 more here for the construction sector. We'll pop in another university just because we're nice. Having a level 5 university gives us an accomplishment. And then we could add some more logging camps because we're going to need a lot more wood. So we'll do that. And then we could see how we stand after those things. I do need to have more universities just because. But for the very beginning of the game, it's more important to get my primary goods going. So I've explained all that. And now we go to our market. I have a mod that allows me to automate trade. I clicked on that. A few days from now, it'll start generating the trade routes. So I'll be good on that. For military, I have clicked the button to upgrade all my cavalry. So they'll get upgraded. I'm happy to see that 162 made some changes so that way I don't have the big chunk of cavalry that can't function because it's all cavalry, no infantry. That's the craziest thing. So what we have here, I have more than 2 cavalry. If I scroll down, we've got 12 in this outfit. If I go to the next one, so this one has got 27 infantry, 3 artillery, and 12 cavalry. The second army, 36, 4, and 18. 4 plus 18, that's 22. That's less than 36. Remember that. It's important. Somehow main army is smaller than the big one, but they're 914, and the Elbe army is also a 914. Okay. Why do you want to have so much infantry? Because you'll get a penalty if less than 50% of your army is infantry. So you want to have at least 50% infantry. I like having a little extra because that means if we get into a fight and I lose some infantry in it, I don't suddenly get penalized because my artillery and cavalry haven't been hit. If my infantry survives, it takes a few hits and it still balances out, it's still equal to or greater than the artillery plus cavalry, then we're fine. We don't take an organizational hit. And what I see here is interesting. It's labeled army, but really it's not an army strength. Each of these is a battalion. Now, a battalion is a certain size unit, and it's remained, more or less a standard unit of combat for armies all around the world. You take 3 battalions and you form a regiment. You take 4 battalions and you form a brigade. So you can see there that the fighting power of a brigade is slightly higher than that of a regiment. And in some ways what you would do is you'd have 3 infantry battalions form an infantry regiment, and then you put regiments together into a division, and then augment the division with cavalry and artillery. A brigade, though, would be one where maybe you have 3 infantry battalions and you supplement with a battalion of artillery or a battalion of cavalry. And then you could put 3 brigades together for a division, and it would be the same as 3 regiments plus supporting units. It's just that by having the artillery and cavalry integral to the brigade, it could command those units as part of its own structure and not have to pass an order on up to the divisional headquarters. So with that in mind, if we have anywhere from 9 to 15 units in a military outfit, that's a division size. And that's what we have here. This Elbe Army and Main Army at 14 battalions, that's a division. Or in German, it's an Abteilung. So I'll rename them accordingly. Now, 2 divisions put together, that's a small corps. Typically, a corps would be around 3 divisions, but you could get by with 2 or maybe 4. It's no hard and fast rule on the size of a corps, but if I'm looking at this one, the Erste Army here, this is 42 battalions. To me, that's the equivalent of a corps. We have 3 divisions of 14 in there. And if we take a look at what's in this division here, again, it's a 914, and over here it's now 27,312. That's exactly triple of what the other one was. So that's a corps. But when you get 4 divisions together, you could be you could call that a proper army. I sometimes save it out until I have at least 2 corps, and then I say, all right, now I've got an army. So I'd say around 60 is army size. And oh, well, here we are at 58. So yeah, we can call this an army, sure. But there's no hard and fast rule. It's just something nice for flavor. So if I make a smaller organization of only 3 battalions, I'll call it a regiment. If I make one of 9 to 15, that's a division, or in German, Abteilung, so I'll make it there. This is probably going to be Erste Korps, and this could be Erste Army, or it could be Imperial Army, or something like that. And I'll go back and forth with the translation on that to make sure, I'll type something in English and get it in German. And then I know a little bit of German, so I can correct it if I think it's wrong, and then come back and put it in here. I'll put it in the translator, though, because that'll save me time trying to figure out exactly how to get the O with the umlaut on it or whatever. It'll do it automatically. So I've got my army fixed up, and I hit my mobilization types. If I activate them, I'm going to give them extra rations. I've turned that on, and we have lots of liquor, so I've turned that ration on. We're short on sugar, so I didn't turn that on. I could make them go faster with the force march, but that results in a morale loss for them. I'm not happy with that. I'd rather they move a little more slowly. Or I could put railroads in, and when I have railroads in, I get a bigger formation speed. That's a goal to have. Before I have my first war, I need to get my railroads in so I can turn on rail transport, and they will move faster without taking a hit on their morale. And that walks through the first 5. Now we get to diplomacy. All right. Now, for diplomacy, we have to look at our trade. In this time period, Prussia was working to expand its power, and it wanted to assert authority over Germany. It was willing to share that authority with Austria. But Austria, their foreign minister, Metternich, had spent so much time trying to get Europe balanced after the Napoleonic Wars. It was just horrendous to him to hear the Prussians say, hey, let's take that Congress of Vienna and just, redo it. He did not want that to happen. He was against that. But the Prussians kind of worked within the framework and said, okay, well, what if we just set up a stronger trade network? And the Austrians were like, well, okay, you can do that. So it's called the Zollverein, is the name of the Prussian market. And when we get the 1.7 update, and we have all the power blocks, that's what the Prussian one will be called, the Zollverein. And all of these guys are part of it. Austria's not in it, and Hanover and Brunswick and these little North Sea principalities or free states are not part of it. Now, I know something that these guys don't know of themselves, and that is the King of England is about to die, and when he dies, the Kingdom of Hanover is no longer in a personal union with them. It's cut loose, and I get to benefit from that. Why are the arrows still on Austria? I hate when that happens. Let's see if this clears it. No, let's go back to trade. Go to Prussian market and sneak out. Okay, there we go. Got rid of the arrows. Pro tip. If you see something weird on the map, change the map around, and then it might clear it out. Anyway, as I was saying, Hanover is about to break free. So I'm building relations with them. I'm also building relations with Brunswick, Oldenburg, Bremen, and Hamburg. So that way we will be good and friendly with them. And once I have my relation built up with them to where this can't boost it anymore, I'll start bankrolling them until they become friendly with me. And then once they're friendly, I can have them join my customs union. And when they join my customs union, that puts them in a place to then join the North German Federation when I form that. That won't be until after I take Schleswig-Holstein away from Denmark and beat Austria in a war. But once that happens, boom, I get North German Federation, and then I can think about unifying Germany. I'll go ahead and mention that now because there's 2 ways to unify Germany. One is to take a tiny piece of France. The other is to take a piece of Austria. If I have all of Germany together, like the entire North German Federation formed, and the South German states are part of the customs union with Prussia, that only gives me 22 of the 23 states needed to form Germany. So I have to get either Alsace-Lorraine from France and then name it Elsass-Lothringen, or take at least one German state from Austria. And that gets outlined. If I click on Cultures and Germany, oops, sorry, let me go back here. Let me just hover over Germany. This shows all the territories that are considered Germany. And you can see that the ones that are Czech, Bohemia and Moravia, part of Hungary, Slovenia is there, and then the Austrian territories of Austria proper, Styria, Tyrol, and South Tyrol, or Sud Tyrol. Those are all, any one of those, and I can form a Germany. So I can take all of these and one of those, and I can make a Germany. Can I do it with Switzerland? The answer is no. Switzerland is not on the list. Can't form Germany with Switzerland. If I was into forming non-historical nations, I could build out Central Europe and then become the Holy Roman Empire again. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not forming a Holy Roman Empire in a paradox game that is not that's not CK3 or EU4. No. And I'm not forming Byzantium either, so don't ask. I am going to form Germany. So I have an eye towards that. I'll work on maintaining relations here, building a strong economy, and with that strong economy, I can build a strong military, and that'll get me ready for the fight that I have to eventually have to form Germany. Now, that's my relations with the other German minors. I have two neighbors, Russia and France. I am not rivals with them. I'll make them my friends. Austria, I am a rival with them. And I'm going to stay a rival with them until after this whole German thing is settled. So let's not even try to be friends with them. But by being friends with Russia and France, I can get it to where they may be a little more forgiving if I punch Austria a little too hard when it's time to have the War of the Brothers. And to be honest, if I have France on my side, I am willing to let them keep Alsace-Lorraine and pick up Bohemia and Moravia instead. I'm okay with that. I mean, you look at Alsace-Lorraine, click. They've got iron, coal, and logging. It's a good place to build some factories. But so is Bohemia. Iron, coal, and logging. And Moravia. Okay, just coal and logs. Regular Austria is coal and logs. That's fine. All right, Styria. Coal, iron, lead, and logs. I like that one. Ooh, I'd like to have some Styria, please. Tyrol has got 2 gold mines. Nice touch. South Tyrol is, if you if you've got the rest of Austria, you might as well take South Tyrol. And then Slovenia's got a lot of coal. Istria, it's not part of Germany, but hey, if you've already taken Slovenia, get a port on the Adriatic while you're at it, and then you can just sail directly to Suez if you happen to conquer other parts of the world. Yeah. But definitely, for what Alsace-Lorraine has with it, I can get the same out of Bohemia and Moravia. And I kind of like going that way first. I'm going to punch Austria hard. If I punch them extra hard, I can pick up these guys. France is okay with that, and Russia's okay with that, especially if I have a trade or defensive pact with them. Then my relations can go all the way up to 80, friendship. And if I get them all the way up there, by taking these two, if I highlight over here and I say, yeah, what happens if I conquer Bohemia? I'll get 28 infamy, and I'll have damage relations with 9 countries. And I look at the hit. That's minus 14 for France and Russia. And for Moravia, that is 28 infamy and 14 hits. So that would be 28 total on the negative hit on Russia and France. So if I get them all the way up to 80 and lose 28, that means they'll only be at 52, which is still quite cordial. I'll take that. I'll take that any day. They will not join the war to keep me out of Austria. Moo, ha, ha, ha. Eventually, though, I am going to have to make friends with England because I don't want them getting mad at me and jumping down my back. So that's my grand strategy plan. Austria is going to get hit good and hard. I may form Germany out of Austria rather than out of France. Of course, if that fails and France goes to war with me, you know I'm coming for Alsace. You know I'm coming for Alsace-Lorraine. Actually, Lorraine as well is a good place to take over because they've got iron, lead, sulfur, and logs. Great combination there. The one thing they don't have is coal, but hey, you got coal next door, so, Alsace-Lorraine and Lorraine. Watch out, France. I got my eye on you. So those are the things there. For journal entries, I don't have anything worth interesting right now. Companies, I'll see how Friedrich Krupp does in this game. Maybe some changes have been made and the artillery and arms industry stay profitable. I've had playthroughs as Germany where that was fine and these stayed great, and I've had others where they just fell flat. It may have had something to do with the mods I have, and if I've got a mod that messes it up, I'll drop Krupp if it's not profitable and go with some company that is profitable, like the paper company that gives me 10% more bureaucracy. I love bureaucracy. Oh, yes, I do. So let's see. I've been rapping at you for 26 minutes. I'll go ahead and stop now. And when I won't tell you what, though. I'll start the next video when I hit unpause. So if you got any questions or comments or ideas for strategy or suggestions, make them in the comments below. Join my Discord, and I will see you in the next one. Hope all your diplomatic plays go the way you hope.